Hey boys and girls, Ken Smith Fishing. I think Mom's still watching my videos. We're going to do the great 10 boat search of 2022. We did the great bass boat search of 2021, starting in the fall of 20 and early into the year of 2021. We looked at a whole lot of boats, and for several reasons. Number one, you guys asked me. A lot of you guys are not at a price point or not prepared to spend $50, $70, $100,000 to buy a glass boat. So I wanted to do it for you guys. I want to do it for my own curiosity. I've owned a metal boat before. My old team partner Clay Clevenger and I owned one together. I really enjoyed fishing out of it, and it's funny. Most of my buddies who have big fancy tournament rigs love fishing out of a metal boat, and I personally think it's because it reminds most of us of our boyhood, of our being a kid and fishing, and kind of away from the tournament pressure. You're just out there to have fun, whether you're catching a perch or a crappie or a 6-pound largemouth. So I've got that nostalgia aspect that I want to look at them. I want to look at them because I would like to eventually. I don't see it happening in the next year. My business is still not recovered from all the COVID issues and from me leaving my employer of 22 years. I don't think I'll be buying a boat in the next 12 months, a second boat, a metal boat, because I will absolutely keep a glass boat. But I would love to have one for two reasons. Number one, for those really nice days when I'm going out and I'm just idle and looking. I would love to keep the hours off my big boat, off my new boat, because it's not unusual for me to put 100, 150, 200 hours on a boat in a year, and more than half of those hours will be idling. I would love to put those on a boat that I'm not so worried about the hours, because I'm going to try to turn that boat in a year or two. And then the other thing is, we've got homes in Dallas and at Rayburn, and I would love to have a boat here, which would be the metal boat, that I could fish around up here some in, and not have to worry about running back and forth and getting boats and etc. So I'm real interested in doing this video and learning what I can learn, and I know nothing about metal boats. My little bit of research so far has told me this. There are kind of two types of boats. There are bass boats, and I'm going to call them pad boats, that are boats that get a ton of lift, get up out of the water, and run like a performance bass boat. And to my knowledge so far, those two boats that I know are the Express, which you go a lot of them. I mean, there's 5 or 6 or 7 guys on the Elites fishing out of Expresses now. Those are really nice metal boats, but they're going to be above the price point I'm going to try to stick to, but I still want to look at them. Because, by the way, one of my all-time favorite videos, all-time I've ever filmed, was a Bass Champs tournament on Toledo Bend with my buddy Chet, where we fished out his 20-foot Express. If you've never seen that video, I'm going to post it right there at the top, and I'll put a link in the description below. That is one of the most fun tournaments I've ever fished, and I was blown away about how little water his Express drafted. And it was an 06 Express. He and I talked about it the other day. It was an 06 Yamaha on it, but the performance was spectacular. It was fast. It handled rough water well, and it would run really shallow water. So I want to look at an Express, and I think the other boat is going to be the Gator Trax. And that's not a real well-known brand, but golly, it is the most mentioned metal boat. And when I did the Great Bass Boat Search last year, guys kept asking me to look at that boat. So I want to look at that boat. There's not a ton of them in the marketplace, but I would really like to get a hold of one of those and look at those. Now, having said that, my price point here that I'm going to try to stay within for new boats, not used boats, and I will probably buy a used boat, but for the new boats, the price point I'm going to try to stay is $30,000 to $40,000, 18 and 19 foot boats. If I were to buy one of these, I would probably actually buy a 20 foot or a 19 foot used one, but I want to look at the new ones in that space so I can kind of have a baseline to compare. Now, I got roasted a little bit by you guys that I compared everything in the first search to Ranger, because that's what I knew was Ranger. If you remember, the first boat I reviewed was the Bass Cat Puma Hybrid, and I immediately posted a score on that boat. I'm not going to do that with these boats because I have no baseline of comparison. So I want to review at least 5 boats before I put any grading up about these boats at all, because I don't know what to expect. I looked at a boat today, I'll show you here in a minute, and honestly I was surprised how little you get for the money they were asking for this boat. But again, I don't have a baseline. I may be blown away that this is kind of the norm in this boat space. So let's go through really quick the boats that I'm interested in looking at, and here they are. And I'm gonna dub over this just from the studio there at the house in Richardson. So here's the initial boats I'm interested in looking at. And guys, it's just like we did before. I mean, I never ever would have looked at a Blazer had you guys not said look at a Blazer. So I certainly don't know everything about metal boats, but this is the group of boats I want to look at.
Okay, so obviously I want to look at a tracker. I think they probably build more metal boats than anybody else in the marketplace. I may not be right there, but you're going to see here in a minute. I did go look at one today, but I want to get out in one and fish out of one and want to look at that. I certainly want to look at an Express, probably amongst tournament fishermen, the most popular boat that you're going to see out there on the water these days. I want to look at a G3. That's a boat that Ross Motorsports sells there in Lufkin. I'm real curious to see that. I see quite a few G3s around the lake, but that's certainly a boat I want to look at. I'm real curious to see a Vexus. I know the Vexus metal boats have sold really well. My buddy Jim Tutt actually fished out of one the other day. Jim does some guiding on Lake Cherokee, and his customer wanted to take his Vexus, and Jim said 3 of them fished out of it, and he was really impressed with both the ride and sort of the stability in fishing out of the boat and the finish of the boat. So, and again, that's probably going to be above my price point I'm trying to stay in, but I'd like to look at that. I would like to look at a Ranger metal boat. I did kind of play around with the pricing on one of these, and I think you could probably get one in the low 40s, which isn't terribly greater than my price point. And by the way, I'm going to price these boats as I do this in that price point, really kind of looking at them with just 2 graphs in the boat, and I really don't care so much about having poles on the boats. I'm really curious. I've got a lot of comments from my friends in the northern part of the United States. The Polar Craft is a very popular boat, not so much down here in Texas, but if I can find one, I'd love to look at one. And I mentioned this, I think, somewhere else in this video. You know, Brunswick, who also owns Mercury, actually makes several of these boats. The Lund, the Low, the Crestliner. By the way, the Thunderjet's a cool boat, but it's a jet drive boat used like in Alaska. So, you know, several of those boats are probably going to look or be built pretty similarly, but I still want to look at several of these boats. Included in that Brunswick lineup would be the Lund. That's a boat you don't see a lot of down here. Again, it's kind of a regional thing. And by the way, it's interesting, as I've done my little bit of research on this, on every one of the videos and other posts I found on these boats, there are people who both love them, and there are people who say, oh, that boat fell apart, that boat's a piece of junk. Not the Lund, just kind of all of these boats in general. So there's just as passionate opinions on these metal boats as what we ran into when we looked at the glass boats as well. So, and by the way, you know, probably the most well-known metal boat these days, maybe other than the Express, has been the Crestliner, because John Cox is on TV every other week in a top 10 fishing out of one of these. And you can see here in the 19-footer, well within the price point that I'm interested in looking at. Again, I think he fishes out of one of the larger boats, but the Crestliner is certainly a boat I'd be interested in looking at. And matter of fact, looking at their website, this MX-19 really looks like a very nice kind of a modified V boat. Again, I don't think this is a pad boat or what I would call a performance boat, but we'll learn more as we go through this process together. So the Crestliner is certainly a boat that I want to look at. And then kind of rounding out the Brunswick offerings will be the Low boat. These boats, you know, I've not looked at many of them. I don't know if they look very similarly. I've been told that some of them are built in the same factory, but I'll be curious to look at, you know, any of these I can get my hands on, quite frankly. And then, by the way, so One of the boats that I see metal boats around Rayburn pretty frequently is the Triton metal boat, but the Triton website is only fiberglass boats. So now I've not been in the Ranger factory in a while. I've heard rumors that the Tritons and the Ranger glass boats are kind of made side by side. I have no idea if that's correct or not, but Ranger's still making their metal boats, so maybe they decided to discontinue the Triton line. If somebody tells me different and can show me that they're still making boats, then we'll review the Triton as well. And then Alumacraft. Alumacraft's making some pretty nice looking boats. Just, again, looking at them on the website. So I'd like to look at Alumacraft. I can't say that. Alumacraft boat as well. And then another boat that I actually have seen. So there's a bunch of guys around Rayburn who are buying these Havoc boats. Matter of fact, I think Ross sells these boats. But most of them are just a stripped down, more of a duck boat, flat bottom. But they actually make a fishing boat with a raised platform and a live well. I would love to see one of these if somebody knows where I can track one of these down. I don't think Ross has ever ordered one of these, but that's certainly a boat. That's a performance little boat right there, or at least the small ones are that I see these guys putting these souped up racing engines on. And then probably the last one that I know of right now is also a boat that we don't see too much in Texas, and that's the Sea Arc boat. You can see here it's built pretty much like the rest of these boats, kind of a modified V, wide decks, looks like a pretty well appointed boat. So if we can run across one of these, we'd love to test it. And of course, anything else you guys know of that's not on my list, I'd like to hear about it as well.
Now, I believe almost all of these boats that I'm going to be looking at are going to be welded, not riveted boats. And so I think that's going to be one of the factors. I think that's going to be kind of the price of admission. And by the way, I mentioned pad boat earlier. That boat John Cox runs, that Crestliner, I don't know if that's a pad boat or not. Watching him at Rayburn, I saw him run right smooth through the middle of the Black Forest last year or 2 years ago, whenever that was. And he was moving water from the front half of the boat back. It was not up out of the water. I don't think that boat was real fast, but that did not appear to me to be a pad boat. But again, it's something I'm going to look at, something we're all going to kind of learn together here. But looking at this boat, so this is a tracker. Forgive me, I'm doing this off memory. I believe it's called a Pro Team or a Pro Tournament 190, which I'm assuming is a 19-footer. I'll put the actual dimensions on the boat right there. But you see the price tag on this boat is $31,000. And it's real easy as you look through these boats to see where manufacturers can save money. There's no carpet in this boat. And of course, even if there were carpet, you can buy vastly different grades of carpet. Some of the boxes didn't even have locks on them, and the locks that were on them were what I would call, I don't even know where I learned this word, but kind of chintzy. Real small live well, no compressions on the latches. And again, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that's kind of that. And again, that's why I'm not grading these boats. That's my expectation coming out of a really nice bass boat, glass boat. But single axle trailers with small tires on it. What looked to me to be a pretty expensive trailer under it, and that boat's priced at $32,000. And I thought, well, it's got a really nice Mercury 4-stroke 115 on it, but that motor's only retail about 10 grand, and there's not much on electronics on it. So just kind of glancing over at that boat, I didn't see a $20,000 boat besides the motor sitting there. But again, I may learn through this process that that's real typical. So it's just going to be a learning process. I'm really, and I may have already said this, but I'm really going to try to stay $30,000 to $40,000 new boat price point in that 18 to 19 foot boat, which I think is going to put most of these boats from 100 to 150 horses. But here's my challenge. So this is walking through the Bass Pro Shops in Garland, Texas. And you guys that know that Bass Pro Shops know the entire downstairs is normally where the boats are. And this is what it looks like right now. There's one nitro in there. And there was 2 metal boats on the side, and there was one metal boat still in the wrap in the parking lot. I did not see another glass boat. And that other metal boat, there was a tracker, I think it was a 170, and then that little Grizzly, which is more of a duck style boat, which I'm not opposed to, but they got no inventory, and nobody has any inventory. If you remember, I met the guys with Texas Boat Works from Fort Worth at the Bass Cat dealer show, dealer meeting, and they were going to let me drive a Crushable Hunter. They don't have any. They don't have any in stock. I talked to Andrew and Ross. They're a G3 dealer. They don't have a metal boat. They don't expect to get another one until the spring. So the only way this is going to happen is if you guys help me out. I'm going to have to find boats that you guys own or that you guys buddies own that'll be willing to meet me. And by the way, I enjoy doing that more in the Great Bass Boat Search and the Glass Boat Search than I did meeting with the dealers and the wholesalers looking at their boats, because everybody was real straightforward with me. This is what I like, this is what I don't like about the boat. So the only way we're going to get this off the ground is if you guys help me. Again, KenSmithFishingOutlook.com, or through Instagram, Ken Smith Fishing 2.0, or just even commenting in the comments below. If you've got one of these boats or another boat that I should look at, please reach out to me and let's spend an afternoon or a morning in the boat together. You guys show me what you like about the boat, the features of the boat, and we will do the great 10 boat search of 2022 together. So I'm really looking forward to doing this. Again, it's going to be a challenge because there's not a lot of these boats in the market, and most of my buddies have a glass boats because I'm in a tournament fishing crowd. So any of you guys that got metal boats, man, I'd love to get together and do this. Or if you got buddies that have one or know somebody that has one, please connect with me. We got 2 more things we're going to do today. We're going to do a spark drawing right here in just a second. And then if you guys saw the video a week or 2 ago, Sarah did a sale, 12 Days of Christmas for wives, and she has extended that, and we want to show you what it's going to look like when it shows up at the house, and that'll be right at the end of this video. She's done a really nice job. She's not charging enough for it, but she's done a really nice job with this for those of us who don't know what to buy our wives or need extra gifts for our wives for Christmas. So that'll be right at the end of this video, and I'll come back and give you guys a close then. Thanks, guys. Okay, so spark drawing. By the way, I just checked. There's been no more fish registered in any of the lakes for the $2,000, and we are down to the last month. So we got 6 lakes that nobody's weighed an 8-pounder plus. If you want to know more about that, check it out at sparkfishing.com, www.sparkfishing.com. So let's draw a name for today, $250 giveaway. It is Lance Elledge, E-L-L-E-D-G-E, Elledge, I guess, from Van Alstyne, Texas. So Lance, keep your eyes peeled for an envelope that's just going to say rewards on it. It'll be a $250 gift card from our friends over at Spark Energy. So let's update you guys on the gifts that Sarah put together for the 12 Days of Christmas right here. Hey guys, a real quick update on the gift thing that Sarah put together for the 12 Days of Christmas. We wanted to show y'all what one looked like that she's done, is about to ship out, and also she's going to update you on kind of what's available these days.
Hi guys, so we're so excited. We've sold several of these. They're going out today. I just wanted to show you what they looked like wrapped and ready to go. So I individually wrapped each one. You'd start on December 14th, and then they all have labels on the back so you can see which day of the 12 days of Christmas that you would give. So that would give you a gift per day plus one on Christmas Day. Arbonne did extend their pricing, so if you are interested, we can still get this to you guys. I did just check the website. The holiday products are still in stock. That will change quickly. That's why I checked it right before we filmed. So if you're interested, please email me. We can either wrap it just like this and ship it to you, or we can do free shipping directly to you from the company, and that would include a free gift, so that would shift our pricing just a bit. So either way, reach out to me and we will get these to you guys. Thanks for your support. We're so excited, and we hope that your recipient is excited to receive these too. Have a great holiday.
Again, if you've not seen the first video, I'll post a link to it right up there at the top where Sarah talked about exactly what this is, but we just wanted to give you guys an update. So Let's jump back over. Well, I think that's it. Actually, we've already done our spark drawing.
All right, so there you go. If you want to connect with Sarah, you know how to reach me. She'll be glad to do that same deal for you guys. I believe she's extended the pricing out for another couple of weeks, certainly through Thanksgiving. We're going to Rayburn at Thanksgiving. And, you know, I've had so many guys ask me what's going on at Rayburn. I have been at Rayburn one day this fall, and I didn't even get to fish. Didn't even have a boat with me. Went down there to get something, actually to switch trucks out to go to Ivy. I do not believe I have been on Rayburn since the 4th of July. That is the longest I've ever been away from Rayburn. But I had to have my hip replaced, and then we had a 5-month-old or 7-month-old. So we had a baby this spring, and my work is finally picking back up. So man, it's just been a crazy year. We're gonna start fishing again right now. I really wanted to go to Texoma today, but we got this big north wind, and although I feel pretty stable walking right now, as you guys know, walking and being on a boat pitching every direction is a whole different animal. And so I put it off, but we're gonna fish at Rayburn hopefully Wednesday and Friday if we get decent weather this week, and get you guys a Rayburn report up, and do some other stuff while we're down there as well. And by the way, I have it on the books finally for December, I believe the 10th. Todd Driscoll and I are going to sit down, and he's going to update us on the tracking study that they're doing on Toledo Bend and what those fish did. If you've not seen those videos, there's a link right there. You can go check out those videos. But he now knows, he's now tracked those fish through the spawn, through the post-spawn, through summer, and now into fall. So we've got basically a full season of these fish. And he told me, he said, because I want to meet with him this week. And Todd, I think, likes doing these videos. And Todd, if you guys who don't know him, he's a scientist at heart. He wants to tell us exactly what's going on. So he said to me, Ken, let me spend a day going through the data, because you guys want to hear what's going on with the individual fish. And I said, yeah, we do. And he said, let me spend the day going through the data, and I'll be ready for you on the 10th if everything holds up and we get down there, and we will film that day, and I'll have all those videos up through the holidays. That should be 4, 5, or 6 videos. I really am looking forward to doing that. So we'll be back to posting regular fishing reports now that I'm healthy again. And we'll be getting ready for the spring. I haven't decided what I'm going to fish next year. I think I'm going to fish the bass champs in the north again. I'm probably going to fish the BFLs. I tried to fish them this year, but I didn't get in the first one, and there was no sense in fishing the rest of them if I couldn't. And I'm kicking around going back and fishing the Toyota Series. We'll see how the year ends up with my business and where we are with that, and whether I feel like I can spend the time away from the business to practice and be competitive in that. That's not a circuit. There's too many guys that spend a week or more practicing for those tournaments. It's just not a tournament you can show up and practice 2 or 3 days and be competitive in. So I'm not going to give my money away. I want to be able to practice competitively. So we'll see what we're going to do next year, but we're dang sure going back fishing. And I hope you guys want to tag along as we do that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. A lot more fun stuff coming from Ken Smith Fishing over the next several months. And again, I want to say from truly, thank you for sticking with me through this tough time when I wasn't able to fish and wasn't able to post. And, as you guys saw in that video, I was nervous about this surgery. I was nervous because I've got a history of having blood clots from a knee surgery, and I'm pretty much past all that stuff. And it's good to be alive and healthy, and all my friends are healthy and doing well. And I'm looking forward to 2022. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you all again real soon.